How's it going, everyone? Doc here with Eyes Wide Shot Gaming, and today we will be breaking down our Fusion Viessa build. Let's dive on in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on all of your first Descendant news, info, builds, and breakdowns, as well as many other games. As an added bonus, we will also show and break down our Viessa range tech build for the Vesper Experience farm using the largest cocaine blizzard we can. Before we do get into the build, I do want to say, just as a warning, Viessa is not a DPS character, and this build is created to be used as a debuff build. That way we can maximize its potency. So let's get down to it. Our Transcendent module we will be using is Cold-Bloodedness. This allows us to increase our skill power and decrease the cost of our skills, as well as our skill cooldowns for roughly 20 seconds once activated. For our sub-module, we again stick with Kicking, as it's our favorite, but this can be freely swapped with any other sub-module or grappling module. Since we want to focus strictly around our first skill and the damage we can deal with it per hit, our first module is Skill Concentration, which increases skill critical hit damage by 115.4%. We don't want to have a long intermission between attacks, especially since this is our first skill. For that reason, we want to drop our cooldown as low as we can, with the second module being Nimble Fingers, which lowers our skill cooldown by 25.6%. Next up, we start buffing up our Chill skill power with Focus on Chill module. This will increase our chill skill power by 77.2%, as well as further lower our skill cooldown by 6.1%. Frontlines is our next module, to keep padding our crits. This module increases our skill critical hit damage by 64.6% and our skill critical hit rate by 27.7%. Going hand in hand with Frontlines, we reverse those numbers with the module Emergency Measures. This will swap around the stats from our previous module, adding a 64.6% increase to skill critical rate and 27.7% to our skill critical hit damage. Since there isn't a vast amount of modules currently that focus on increasing skill power, we take what we can get. Spear and Shield is our best choice, which adds 89.8% to our defense, as well as increases our skill power by 8.1%. This is the better choice for defense module, as skill power impacts our fusion skill more so than skill power modifier. Next up is MP Conversion. This will further decrease our skill cooldown by another 36.5%, but unfortunately drops our max MP by 15%. For some slight added survivability, we do equip the HP Amplification module to increase our max HP by a whopping 227.2%, but lowers our max shield by 36.5%. We choose health over shield since our defense module Spear and Shield mitigates damage to our health, not to our shield. Our ultimate module is Dangerous Ambush. When landing skill attack on an enemy that is not targeting you, our skill power is increased by almost 25%, and on skill attack against an immobilized enemy, such as a Void Intercept boss that's taking a knee, our skill power is increased by close to 50%. Last but not least, we do have Skill Insight equipped for the added skill critical hit rate of 115.4% to really solidify our chance of proccing crits with our skills. Now that we know what modules we're going to be using, let's take a look to the left and go over the applied values. Our skill cooldown has tapped out at 68.2%. The skill critical hit damage and our skill critical hit rate is at a huge 207.7% increase. The chill skill power has a nice 77.2% increase. Our skill power has been increased by 8.1%, and the rest of the stats allow us to have a slight chance of not being absolutely destroyed from 1 or 2 hits. Let's turn our attention now to the Reactor as well as our external components. The Reactor we've opted for is the Frozen Mixture. Unlike our Valby build, the Reactor plays a big role in our overall damage. We want the proper optimization condition so we can reach our 160% mark with skill power. In our case, we have only managed to find one that works for the Python and Enduring Legacy, but our best bet would be to find one either for the Blue Beetle or Clairvoyance Beam Rifle. We will explain why as we go on. The skill power boost ratio should cover chill skill power as well as fusion skill power boost ratio, and our 2 perks on the bottom ideally should be chill skill power boost ratio and fusion skill power boost ratio. We can get away with having skill cost instead of chill skill power boost ratio for a few extra hits, but it will lower our damage slightly. Since we are using a fusion-based skill, the 2 best weapon choices would be either Blue Beetle for its unique ability Arcane Energy, which has a 100% trigger rate, a 10-second duration, and increases our skill critical hit rate by 30%, or a close second, the Clairvoyance Beam Rifle. Its unique ability, Appalled Calling, which has a 2-second duration but drops the enemy's chill resistance by 40%, allowing us to commit to more damage. For our external components, we again have the Slayer set on, mainly for the 4-set add-on of skill power increase by 26.1%. Out of all 4 pieces, our absolute biggest concern should be to have max MP as high as possible on our sensor, which will allow us to get out a few extra ice shards in combat before running out of MP. Otherwise, the rest of our pieces primarily should have either max HP, max shield, or defense stacked as high as possible. Our stats altogether sit at firearm attack at 20,176, skill power at 18,759, defense at 17,875, shield at 822.96, max HP at just shy over 8,000, and max MP at 294.1. Let's take a quick look at the damage this skill does in the laboratory as well as against a Void Intercept boss. We can see that in the lab, we have our Ice Shard skill hit for a base of 605,000 damage. Our crit sits comfortably at 2.2 million damage, proccing every other hit or so, and our Ice Spears hitting for 152,381 at base, which also crit for just over 562,000. We decided to run a quick, hard Devourer Void Intercept mission even though they have a strong Frost attribute resistance. The reason for a 4-man team is because we are not built to take a high amount of damage, since we are considered a debuff character, focusing around chilling and slowing the enemy down. We don't want to rush into the fight throwing our skills out immediately, since we do most of our damage when the enemy isn't focused on us as well as taking a knee. So we whittle down the boss's health, and once we see the Devourer falter, we proc our cold-bloodedness and unleash our first skill as often and as fast as we can, dealing close to 650,000 damage per crit skill hit, which we can do an average of 14 times before we run out of mana, even through the Devourer's chill resistance. This number is obviously going to vary higher and lower, depending on the resistances of the Void Intercept boss we encounter. Hopefully this build video benefits everyone who wants to try out something different from the current metas that most characters seem to have. But before we end this video, we do want to showcase a quick module breakdown for the Vesper XP farm that we use on our Viessa to quickly help our friends level up, as well as level our weapons up. Our Transcendent module is again cold-bloodedness, our sub-module is kicking, and everything else is focused on either range of our skills or cooldown. So, Tech Master, Nimble Fingers, Frugal Mindset, Focus on Tech, Multi-Talented Ultimate Module, Skill Extension, MP Conversion, Maximize Range, and finally, Regeneration Boost, just to get our module capacity capped at 85 out of 85. This is subject to change with the new update coming later this week, which will allow us to have more than one mod type allocated to each slot. As far as the Reactor, our main focus is on any module that has skill effect range at the bottom, since our tech skill, the Cocaine Blizzard, devastates the enemies in Vespers as it is. And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and until next time, Descendants, so long.